creed. Fuel the fire, we're born to lead. Lights go green and the world's a blur. Chasing glory, feel the engine purr. Wheels keep spinning, hearts on fire. Chasing the thrill, climbing higher and higher. We are the speed, we are the light. Inters racing league, tearing through the night. Circuit kings with a need for pace. This is our time, this is our race. There's some lights.
All right, hopefully we got some sound. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inters Racing League pre-season race. We're in Zandvoort. We've got like a minute and a half left, but we do have a stream. Unfortunately, Mozza was having a few issues, but thankfully we've got in. So 16 drivers on the grid this evening. Dark and Shadows, as you can see, as we hit 7 seconds left to go on the clock. Currently the quickest driver on track, a 109.837, as we do hit the checkered flag now. So, as we sort of catch up with how everybody is going, we'll quickly get everything up as we can. Dark and Shadows, purple in the middle sector. Broken Reptiles retired from the session from P13 on the grid. As we come around at the final corner here at Zandvoort, Dark and Shadows, can they go even quicker? They most certainly can. Finds another 2.5 tenths. Dark and Shadows on a 9.6. Just ahead of Cash Mash, who finished on a 10 flat, just ahead of Zilla in the Aston Martin Junkyard. Dog in P4, Broad Start, and Ashton, the two Saubers. As Ashton, can he improve? He can, onto the front row at 10.078. Barely anything, covering P2 down to P6. Only about 300ths of a second. That's how close it is in qualifying for those guys. Big Chris in P7. Pudgy in P8, Mash in 9th, Sam running out our 10. Then you got Mertz, Ethimon, Broken Reptile, Bompton in 14, Fat Eagle, and 07 Toys in the Alpine, rounding out our grid. As we look at the results, as you can see on screen, and it is Dark and Shadows just ahead of Ashton. I say just ahead, it's nearly half a second. But Ashton putting in a great lap time at the end there. Cash Mash in P3, Zilla in 4th, Junkyard Doggy in P5, Broadstar, Big Chris, Pudsy, Mash, and Sam, your top 10. Then Mertz, Ethimon, Broken Reptile, Bompton, Fat Eagle will join 07 Toys on the back row of the grid in the 16-car field. So, a couple of guys having internet issues this evening, unfortunately. So I think Ghost Rider was one of them. So game plan, a little bit of steely buggers. So yeah, unfortunate. So we'll see now. I'll just let everybody know stream is now up. So as we get ready for 30 plus laps at Zandvoort. Should be an interesting race this evening. Dark and Shadows in the probably your favourite, but I think I've said this potentially on other streams. Cash Mash is looking very racy on this game. He's doing a fantastic job. Whether this game just suited him a little bit better, but you saw the improvement at the end of 24, how well they were going. So yeah, as I said, it's fantastic to see Cash Mash. We've got two guys on the front row that are quick. So 14 corners, 2 DRS zones around this circuit. As we wait for the final tyre changes. As I am Scotty, we are on Comms Friday night action here at Inters. We are underway in a great start initially from Dark and Shadows, but he had wheel spin and thankfully tried to save it. A little bit of contact between himself and Cash Mash, but Ashton takes the race lead. He didn't get as good of an initial launch, but with Dark and Shadows, the second part of Ashton's start was great. As we got a yellow flag, that's Big Chris onto the grass at the bank, turn 3. Looks like everyone else has managed to get away. As we go through the curve at the end of the first sector, Ashton, Cash Mash, Broadstar. So both salvers looking racy early on. Dark and Shadows has dropped down to P4. What are the tyres? Everybody's saying you can see top 4 on the mediums. Everyone else on the hard compounder tyre. As you got Pudsey that's had a moment on the gravel, as you can see, and just hitting the wall. I think that was light enough to not cause any damage. A little bit of carnage at the back. Fat Eagle and Bompton side by side as we come through to the right hand, or a little bit of a moment, and that McLaren's going to have to travel onto the grass and nearly an unsafe rejoin into the side of the Alpine of Toys, but they get away with it. But back up front, Ashton leads lap 2 of 36. At a Cash Mash, Broadstar looking to get on the move, going to go around the outside at turn number 1. He'll have the better traction. Cash Mash leaves him just enough room. We're going to go side by side through turn 2. But that will give him the inside of the bank turn 3. But he gets on the grass. So the switchback potentially for Cash Mash. Nothing doing. Broadstar 1 and 2. And that is Dark and Shadows around our pole man. 10-second time penalty. Severe collision with Junkyard Doggy. So I don't know if those two have had a collision or one spun. And then the other one, unfortunately, has been collected. As we see, Junkyard Doggy left side wing is gone. So that's going to be a McLaren coming into the pit lane. So a little bit of carnage on the opening lap and a half. And unfortunately, our pole man down to P15. I don't know if they got away with damage, but Fat Eagles half spun across the track. Thankfully ghosted, but having a moment. And they'll go again as we get a virtual safety car. So we'll get things calmed down just a little bit. But it's going to be a Sauber 1 and 2. Hell of an effort from the Sauber pairing. As we are under VSC, let's look at the position changes. And you can see Ashton up 1, Broadstar up 4, Mash up 4, Sam up 4, Mertz up 4, Broken Reptile up 5, Toys is up 6. Obviously, biggest losers, Junkyard Doggy down 7, Fuzzy down 5, Dark and Shadows, our pole man down to down 13 spots. Junkyard Doggy, of course, in pit lane to fix that front wing. Big Chris down 8 as well. So a couple of the guys that were further up in the 10, having moments, Dark and Shadows is coming in, switching on to the hard compounder tyres. I'm going to serve the 10-second time penalty as well. So probably not a bad idea serving it while we're under a VSC. Hopefully the game is allowing him to serve that penalty. As we are back under, and Pudsey has picked up a drive-through penalty, speeding in pit lane. So the Mercedes driver will have to come through and serve that within the next 3 laps. But it is Sauber 1 and 2. Broadstar is on the move. Up 4 spots. Got past the Mercedes quite easily. Lovely move through 1, 2 and 3. But I think Broadstar is going to want to take this race lead, and he does. And Broadstar leads on lap 4. Ahead of Ashton. Cash Mash your top 3. Zelia down in P4. Mash in 5th, Sam in 6th, Mertz in 7th. So you can see the field spread a little bit, and Pudsey trying to serve his drive-through, picks up a 10-second penalty speeding in pit lane. So their night goes from bad to worse down in the P13. So bottom 3 you can see have made 1 pit stop, all due to jet damage. And field spread out, obviously dirty air, especially through a few of these corners, could be quite nasty. So we'll see what Ashton does. He'll get a bit of DRS. This will help him. As we got a yellow flag, and I just said Mash did well, up about half a dozen spots, having a moment at the left-hander. Not sure if there was contact or not, or if he just lost it himself, but down to P9. So, tricky track at the moment. Zandvoort's proving to be with a few of the guys. As Broadstar, then Cash Mash. So Cash Mash wants to get on a bit of a roll now. He's just settled down on those medium tyres. So as we come around the bank to turn number 3. So you can potentially go side by side through here if you get a nice run through the banking of 3. Right on board with Cash Mash. As he makes his way through turn 8, a little bit wide on the curb. As all Dark and Shadows had another moment. That's out of the final corner, turn 14. So whether he's hit the curb on the outside, off the exit of the previous corner, Dark and Shadows is in again. Not having a great afternoon or evening, and I reckon he's probably not going to get out before these guys lap him. So he definitely needs a safety car. Broadstar's going to come around the final corner. Ashton did actually get DRS. So did Cash Mash. You can see that gap was about a second, closed about 0.6 of a second. Did Ashton with the DRS in the tow. As we come through to now the left-hander of 3. So you can see Cash Mash just taking a little bit of a wider line. Maybe get a bit of a better exit through to carry a bit more speed through here, but unless you're sort of really right on the back of the car in front, you're not really planning on making a move there. But this is the closest, one of the closest battles. You got a battle for P5, Mertz v Sam v Broken Reptile. These 3 are fairly close, and that's Mash onto the gravel. We're going wide at turn 7. So, loses a spot to Ethimon. Got Fat Eagle going ahead of the Mercedes. Pugsy picking up a... Oh, it was Dark and Shadows off again, and he's on the soft tyres. Dark and Shadows not liking this track at the moment. Mash got back past Ethimon with the help of DRS down the sort of the smaller back straight. So Mash back up to P8. No change out front. Ashton still covering off the Mercedes. But these 3 are starting to pull away a little bit. Oh, as Cash Mash was getting really close. See Ashton just taking that sort of little bit of a narrower line through the banking of 3, the inside line. You can see that rear light flushing. Ashton's just harvesting a bit of battery. Obviously, he's using probably a lot of it. Probably using a lot of it with down the 2 straights. Problem is, Ashton is now well behind his teammate of Broadstar, so this is going to be where Cash Mash potentially pounces. Maybe Ashton just struggling a little bit with the rears, or with the tyres now. Just having a look at the percentages. There's some people definitely burning tyres better than others, so could easily be just set up related. But definitely some difference in tyre wear, so this could be interesting to see what in terms of what strategy we get, but it's not going to matter anymore because it's going to be Cash Mash easily getting past. Ashton went to the inside, unable to defend. So unfortunately for Ashton, couldn't quite get there. And I think Ashton's grip just starting to go, so we might see one of the Saubers in very shortly. As Dark and Shadows does set the fastest lap, so he's been able to keep it on track, and I think that was a move on Toys to unlap himself. But he's going to start getting blue flags. So he's got to be careful, but not if he has a big moment through there. Thankfully saves it, but that was nearly another rotation for the Red Bull driver. But it does sort himself out. But again, he's going to be seeing those blue flags, so I'm hoping we don't see it, but we might see a 10-second penalty hop up for Dark and Shadows very shortly. As Broadstar, 2.5-second lead. So he's managed to gap Ashton. Cashmash now the second car. We'll see if the Mercedes has just kept their mediums in a little bit better condition and can just start chipping away at that 2.5 second lead. Maybe get within maybe a second and a half and maybe think about an undercut. There is a big train, however. Oh, and that's a Red Bull in the wall. Both Red Bulls having issues. Mash in the wall, coming into pit lane, and he couldn't even slow it down. And he's retired from the session. Mash having a couple of moments as well, but you just saw it at the bottom of your screen. Big moment, and obviously having to come into box, fix the wing, but he sped in pit lane. So unfortunately, that's one Red Bull down. The other one's not having much luck either. So down to 15 drivers. But what I was going to say before we before we saw that incident with Mash, Mert, Sam, Broken Reptile, Ethimon, and Mash was in that battle. We did have a 5-way battle for that. So I'm just wondering if Mertz is holding his ground. Sam as well. So both RBs doing quite nicely. Lap 9 of 36. Lead out front. It's about similar pace these guys are doing, I think. Last lap for Cashmash, 14 flat. And then Broadstar did a 14.3. So about 2.5 tenths quicker was the Mercedes driver. So not a ton of time, but it's just slowly chipping away. As I think that's Fat Eagle just getting out of the way of our leaders. So he'll get going again. Dark and Shadows, speeds in pit lane. I believe for the second time. Oh, actually, no, never mind. That was the contact with the Junkyard that he picked up 10. So, yeah, Dark and Shadows not really having a good night. But one lap pace is good around here, just with the heavier fuel. He's not had any luck whatsoever. But I'm very curious to see what the tyre strategy is. You see Ashton, he's dropped another second away from Cashmash, so he's really trying to hang in there with those medium tyres. I'm guessing he wants to try and do the one-stopper. If his mediums are dead after only 10 laps, it's going to take hards 26, 25 laps maybe. It'll be a long way to try and extend. Cashmash does take out another couple of tenths from Broadstar though. Brought that gap to under 2 seconds. But I'm very curious to see what the actual strategy was when the guys loaded into the game. As we do have our second retirement now. Fat Eagle retires in pit lane. I think it was a lap. It was at least one lap down, potentially two. So he's called it quits for the night. So Fat Eagle obviously getting involved in an incident early on, having to make a couple early pit stops, and Fat Eagle is out. So top 10 haven't made a pit stop. Same as Big Chris as well. Junkyard, Pugsy, and Dark and Shadows. They've had to come in for Dark and Shadows. He's come in multiple times. Gap out front. Another couple of tenths. So Cashmash he has maybe not pushed so hard at the beginning of the race, and now that's really helping him in terms of the pace towards the end of his stint. Potentially driving very smoothly. Meanwhile, we got Ethimon and Broken Reptile nearly side by side through turn 2. Broken Reptile had to back out. But problem is, look for. There was another car in there. It was one of the Mercs, so it's Pugsy, who's obviously on the soft compounder tyre. So that's why that was throwing me off a little bit. So these guys still within about half a second of each other. See the line of 4 cars. Mertz has dropped another second away from Zilia, who's actually starting to catch Ashton as well. That's only 1.3. Ashton 4.8 behind Cash Mash, but that's because Cash Mash is rapidly chasing after Broadstar. So both Sauber's obviously just a little bit hungry on its tyres. Cash Mash doing a hell of a job with nursing those tyres, and Ashton, he's got to come in and make a pit stop. So would not surprise me if we see both Saubers in the next lap or two, because I have a feeling Broadstar might be a little bit of a sitting duck if this continues. Then again, if we get a potential safety car, who's that around? That's Sam at turn 1. And that was middle of the corner too, so I'm just wondering if he's had a little bit of contact with someone. You can see the the right side end plate gone off the RB. So Sam really doesn't want to come into pit lane now, because those medium tyres won't get 23 laps. Looking at how sort of the mediums have gone with the top 4 that started on them. As Broken Reptile gets past Ethimon, Ethimon might have made a bit of a mistake, because Broken Reptile was well clear before that, before we switched camera angles. Broadstar has settled the gap, so Cash Mash may be in a little bit of the dirty air. Just struggled this last lap. As we'll come around turn number 1 again. Ethimon gets back past Broken Reptile as we have another yellow flag. I think that is Big Chris moving out of the way. Going slow. Is everybody in? No, you've got Toys and Chris actually both in AI, so maybe they've actually sort of been out of it and not in the lobby, so... where are we going? Ethimon and Broken Reptile. That's still fairly close. Mertz is up into P4. About 10 seconds away from the next car. So, where has Ashton come out? So he's come out in a bit of clear air. Cash Mash coming into the pit lane, and I reckon this is going to be a nice choice. Get the undercut. Hard tyres go on to the Merc. Does he come out in the clear air? He's got a few cars coming down pit road. Or down the start-finish straight, and he's behind 3 of them. Bompton's a little bit further behind. Oh, it's a little bit closer than probably what he would have wanted. He's got about 1.6 seconds to the car in front. He'll try and get those tyres up to temp as quickly as he can, but he's got to try and clear Broken Reptile and Ethimon. Problem is they're on the hards, they're going longer anyway, so Cash Mash really going to have to push the issue here and really start getting these moves. He wants to at least get Broken Reptile. Oh, as that's wide from Bompton, getting on that curb on the outside, and once you're on that, you're just going to skateboard off into the gravel. Thankfully slows it up in time, nowhere near the wall. That's a bunch of time lost for the McLaren driver, about 3 seconds, as Broadstar has to come in and cover. So it's going to be a race between the Sauber and the Mercedes pit garages. Sauber in. Game gives him a nice clean pit stop. Cash Mash coming down the start-finish straight now. It's going to be close. Broadstar is ahead, but he's going to have to warm up his tyres. On board with Cash Mash. It's about 7/10. So it's about half-second gained for the Mercedes driver. They've both got to be in a little bit of traffic, but that was a good call from Broadstar to cover straight away. Would have been in a lot of trouble otherwise. So it's a race between 2 now. How far? So Ashton's actually made some good ground. He's probably close to about 3 seconds on our 2 leaders. So the 2-lap undercut helped him sort of gain all that time that he lost at the end of the first stint. So it's brought him at least back into play. Broadstar, Cashbash, Ashton, you'd think of your top three once everybody makes their pit stops. But obviously everybody on a slightly different strategy. The three ahead that haven't stopped, but these guys are in this particular train though. For Broadstar, so much more grip coming out of 13 and now 14, but he has a massive snap. This could be the move that Cashbash is looking on. Goes to the inside. It's going to be squeezing from the Sauber. Oh, Cashbash goes deep. There's contact. Does he let Broadstar back through? I think that was just a general move, to just give that position back because he knew he went deep. Hopefully that hasn't given Cashbash damage, and hopefully that hasn't given Broadstar damage. But the opportunity opened its doors. Cashbash sent the move down the inside. There was contact. I think Cashbash just went slightly deep, but he was that narrow to the corner. I was surprised he actually even pulled it up in the first place. So we'll go round two again. What this is doing, this is really hurting Broadstar and Cashbash's race. So we'll see. Zilly is probably the one that's in a good spot. 13 seconds ahead. Going on to the medium compounder tyres. Oh, yellow flag. Cashbash is off. He's around. So, not sure if he's hit the grass, if he's been hit from behind. But Cashbash in the battle for the race lead, dropping a whole bunch of time in positions. So it's pretty much your net Sauber 1 and 2. And the hold up from the old hard runners has allowed Ashton to get right back into this. 2 seconds off Broadstar. And Broadstar, all without DRS. He's going to go around the outside of turn 3. He's going to keep his nose up there. He will have a slightly better run. No, it's not. It's the Williams of Ethimon. Ethimon got the better run out of 3. I thought the wider line from Broadstar was going to help him, but it didn't. And Broadstar, again, losing a lot of time. This might help Cashbash try and close back in, being that Broadstar still can't get past, obviously, that DRS train, but you'd figure so much fresher tyres. Unable to get the job done. Does he look up the inside? He thinks about it, backs out of it. Problem is, Ethimon will have DRS down this straight, so again, Broadstar can't really go for the move unless Ethimon tries to go for it, but he backs out of it. And Broadstar just slightly hits the back of the Williams. So nice and close, and what a gift this is for Ashton. One of his competitors has spun and dropped about half a dozen seconds as we ride on board. And it's going to be Ashton. He doesn't get the toe, but he has to defend from his teammate who's going to be 3 wide. Ashton's going to have the better line, the outside line, but there's slight contact. Ashton having a slight slide, but he does save it. And Ashton takes the race lead once again. Takes the lead for the first time since his teammate passed him all the way back at lap 3. So nice hit for Ashton. Problem is, can he get his tyre wear issues sorted? Because that's how he fell off in the first stint. We still got 17 laps remaining. Remember, top 2 have yet to stop. Ethimon and Bompton, Sammy, Toys and Chris haven't stopped either. As Ashton, Broadstar couldn't get the job done. Ashton is making the moves though. Problem is, Ashton needs to get some nice exits out of the next 2 corners. Otherwise, he could be really vulnerable for Mertz to try and get him back with DRS. But that was a nice run through 13 and 14. That's 0.8 of a second. Mertz is going to have to watch his rear view mirror rather than forward. Oh, Mertz thought about it, but he gets on the grass, and that goes wide. I think he was in 2 minds whether to lunge down the inside or just sit back behind. And I think he just sort of moved too far to the left, got onto the grass. That sent him wide, and that was a free pass for Broadstar, who can now close right back up to his teammate. So Ashton, there's a little bit of an offset against him, about 3 laps. Just remember, you got the Aston Martin ahead. 15 seconds clear. Hasn't stopped yet. But I'd imagine it would probably go another 3 laps probably before chucking the medium tyres on, but they will be rapid on them. So do the two Sauber boys work together to maybe just try and make it a 1-2 as Mertz picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think him and Dark and Shadows are the only ones with pens. Dark and Shadows picks up the fastest lap of the race in 11.5. Obviously being, I think, nearly 2 laps down. Not going to be in contention. Oh, and this is getting close. I don't know how those guys made contact, avoided contact, but Mertz sped in pit lane. Race on pit road now. Fortunately, that has screwed Mertz's race. And Junkyard Doggy picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in pit lane. Zandvoort obviously hasn't changed, and this pit road is very tricky. Just trying to slow it down, especially because you've got a curve in the middle of sort of the pit lane entry as well. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. Meanwhile, Broadstar has overtaken Ashton while we were sort of looking at the battle coming into pit lane between Ethimon and Mertz. But they're on the medium tyres. They're going 15 laps on those tyres. Yellow flag. Who's that sideways? That's Mertz as well. Last 2 minutes for the RB driver has not been good. And we've got a safety car. So not being good, but he'll be able to recover it. So safety car is deployed, first one of the night, and this is an absolute free kick for the Aston Martin on the medium compounded tyres, and he's going to get ahead of the Sauber, so he's going to take the race lead on a new set of medium tyres. Ashton is coming in, same as Cashmash. They feel like the medium tyre is going to be better. Broadstar stayed out. He's going to be on the older, lesser tyre. Bompton's gone softs. Not quite sure if that's the move. I don't think, with the way the mediums are degrading, I don't think the softs are going to be able to make it to the end in a relatively good condition. Semi hadn't made a pit stop yet. Gets his front wing changed. He's on a medium compounded tyre as well. So that will actually still put him in a decent position. Junkyard Doggy, he comes out. He had just made his pit stop. He jumps back up into P7. I think he's only got he's got a 10-second penalty. So I would have thought he might have tried to serve it. Maybe he'll go. He might be able to catch. He won't catch the safety car this lap. So I reckon he'll probably go around again and come into the pit lane. If he's got another set of medium tyres, he may not have. And come in and get that penalty removed, maybe. Might not have any decent tyres left, so I don't know if he may not want to come in. Just try and keep the 10-second penalty at the end. Mertz comes in again. It was the cause of this safety car having to spin off turn 7. Hitting the wall, which was enough to bring out the safety car. Dark and Shadows, I actually don't even know how far back he is. I think he's only a lap down. Coming in pit lane again. And he's retired from the session. I think being 2 laps down, it was always going to be tricky for him to actually sort of do anything. Because he might be able to fight his way through, but he'd be constantly getting blue flags, so... Unfortunate for Dark and Shadows. Remember, started on pole, and pretty much all went wrong for him at the start of the race. Lost pole, had a big moment off the start, and that allowed Ashton to get through, take the race lead, and then he got caught up in moments. And yeah, the two Saubers and Cashmash were our early leaders. Zilia was looking good, running in P4, slowly catching Ashton, obviously going along on the hard compounded tyres, and gift of a safety car, that's brought them back out in P1. Question is, do they have the outright pace to sort of match the Saubers? Broadstar is going to be the one that's in a little bit of trouble. 7 lap on the hards, but maybe he feels like the hards are going to be the better tyre for him, especially if we stay green to the end. I think they'll last longer. Ashton obviously choosing to go onto the medium tyre. Cashmash, he was in that battle for the effective race lead before he had a moment down at this corner we're coming up to now. So he had a moment. Fortunately, we missed it at 11. So not sure if he sort of got on the grass or if there was contact which caused him to spin. But he's back into it in P4. Junkyard only with 10. Mertz is the only one with the track limit penalty that's still going with 3. He's back down in P12. So position changes for everybody at home. Aston Martin driver up 3. Broadstar up 4. The other Sauber down 1. Cashmash down 1. Ethimon and Bompton, they've been two big winners, up 7 and 8 spots respectively. Junkyard down 2 and will lose more with the 10-second penalty. Semi's up 4. Broken Reptile up 4. Semi up 2. Broken Reptile up 4. Toys, which I believe is still AI if I'm not mistaken. Same as Chris, up 6 and down 4 respectively. And Mertz down 1 and Pugsy down 5. But he's had a couple of drive-throughs and speeding penalties, but so I think he's a lap down, unfortunately. And he did lead the session as well, so having a few issues with the lobby, which unfortunately is caught out a few drivers this evening, unfortunately. But if you just joined us, thank you very much. Pre-season, another pre-season race. We're here at Zandvoort. Had an interesting race so far. A couple of nice battles throughout the field. Been a little bit difficult to overtake. Safety car is in this lap. And we should be in for a hell of a finish. 12 laps remaining when they cross the start-finish line. And it's going to be the Aston Martin Azilia who will cross the line first. But he's got 2 hungry Saubers right on his tail. And then Cashmash, Ethimon, Bompton, your top 6. Bompton on the soft compounded tyres, but how long will those soft tyres last? So, Aston Martin will lead us away. I think he has now gone. So, he hasn't quite caught Broadstar napping, but it's got to be a good enough start. Problem is, Broadstar is on the old hards. Going to take a little bit longer. Ashton, does he want to really try and force the issue on his teammate? Single file. It looks like we've gotten fairly clean. I think the Merc at the back just letting everybody go. Being the lap car, and that's Cashmash. Another big moment. Off of 3 and losing a whole bunch of positions. He's dropped, I think, 4 spots down to P8. Got a lot of work to come back to the podium from there. Meanwhile, Broadstar really holding up Ashton. Ashton needs to get the job done. As you can see, he's really pushing as Sam. He's had a moment at the back. You can see him spun round. It's not let me change camera angle. Meanwhile, Ashton does get the move at turn 11. Even without DRS, so much better drive. Oh no, but he lets his teammate through. Did he get an illegal? As Broadstar just gives it a little bit of a hip and shoulder, nearly off track. Meanwhile, all that's doing with the position changes is allowing our race leader to skip off into the distance. 2-second lead already after the restart. As Ashton's got to send the move down at turn number 1. Should have the better grip. Even on the inside, the 2 McLarens side by side. As you got Bompton stuck right behind the Williams. Junkyard trying to stick it up the inside. Backed out of it. Carrying a little bit of a tighter line is Junkyard. Can't get the move back on his teammate. Bompton up into P5. Ethimon in P4, just outside of a podium spot at the moment. Broadstar nearly a second off his teammate already. So those hards are really going to struggle in this early stint. But do they come back to him at the end? Will the 2 out front start burning their tyres up? We'll see. Ashton's got 7 tenths to try and close to within DRS. As we can see, the Williams Ethimon having a look in his rearview mirror. Bompton is looking racy. Round 13. DRS is now open. He's trying to get to the inside line. He nearly loses the car. Thankfully saves it. Problem is, Ethimon's got DRS, and he's got DRS on Broadstar and gonna go for the move. Got the inside line. Broadstar's still there though. But Broadstar has to back out of it. Ethimon into the podium position. And you got the two McLarens, Junkyard around the outside of his teammate at turn 3. Lovely move. Went a wider line, able to carry more speed, and that's up a position to Junkyard. Remember, he's got the 10-second penalty though. But nice move. Got congested mid-corner. Junkyard picking the nice outside line. It was a lot of fresh air up there. Oh, as Bompton had another moment. Oh, Soft's already starting to die on him. He's got Cash Mash after his moment a couple of laps ago. Right on the back. Ethimon doing a nice job. Broadstar, he's trying to hang in there. I think he probably regrets not coming in and making a pit stop now. Might have been a little bit better if he got track position to lead the safety car restart. But I think you could just tell with how easy Ashton did eventually get the move done. Just doesn't have any tyres, but he's going to try and fight back. Ethimon loses one spot, nearly loses two. Just gives the McLaren enough room, but it's a feisty pack this 6 is. Mertz is actually on the back of this as well. So after his moment, he's moved up a few positions, and he's right on the back of Cash Mash. So all these guys on the medium tyres looking aggressive. And Ashton has closed within 1.1 seconds. If he can get a bit of pace in this third sector, he'll get some DRS down the start-finish straight. As Ethimon and Junkyard side by side as we come through turn 10 now. This gives Broadstar a little bit of breathing room. Both drivers will have a bit of DRS. Does Junkyard go to the inside at 11? No, he has to just sit back. Problem is, he probably won't get a chance at Ethimon at the down the start-finish straight, because I have a feeling that the Williams driver will try and actually get the move back past on the Sauber or Broadstar. As we come across the line, leaders have already come across the line, lap 29 to 36. As we've got one, do we have two? Junkyard got to try and go around the outside of Broadstar. I don't think Broadstar's got the tyres in there. A little bit of a hip and shoulder. Broadstar held his line. Remains in P4, but he does lose out to Ethimon. Can Ethimon now push away from Broadstar to just try and clear that second gap so he doesn't get re-overtaken in the next lap? Problem is, it's so hard to break away. And I reckon those medium tyres have just got the best life out of him now. So those hards might be just hanging in there a little bit better. Half a second. And this is where we'll get a bit of DRS help close him up. Greatest exit through turn 10 for the Sauber. Doing a nice job. Meanwhile, lead up front. Ashton's so close to getting within DRS. It's going to be another lap though. So I don't know whether Ashton's, you can see that you can see him harvesting. So he lost about 3/10 down there as Broadstar retakes P3. Look, Junkyard was going to send a move for P4, can't. So Junkyard, he's got to be careful. Oh, and I think Bompton mistook his line. I think maybe he got a little bit put off by what Junkyard was doing, and unfortunately he loses a position. Cash Mash back up into P6. So Cash Mash still on for a podium here. Still in the hunt, especially with Broadstar, but Broadstar's lost. You can see this battle. They've lost 5 seconds to the top two, and Ashton, are we starting to see those medium tyres starting to again fall off for the Sauber driver like they did in the first stint? He's dropped a second just in this lap alone. He was about nearly a 10th quicker on the last lap. That's definitely not going to be the case this time. Broadstar is going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble by the time we get down to turn 1, because Ethimon well within range to get strike again. You've got 6 racing laps left. Broadstar, no, managed to hold on. He's going to hold the middle of the track. Good defending. Ethimon didn't quite have enough. Maybe Broadstar had a little bit more battery. Maybe a little bit better ERS management. Who was that? No, that was, I thought Cash Bash went a little bit wide. He may have, but still well within a good range for the car in front. But last lap for the leaders. Zelia did a 13.6. Ashton did a 12.9. That was even. That doesn't seem right. Seems like it should be the other way. So it was 1.1. It's now 2 seconds. So the game must be telling me lies. 2 seconds is the gap. Broadstar losing. Broadstar. This group is in the 14s, high 14s, early 15s. That's how much slower this group is compared to the top two. Broadstar. Oh, gap's bigger now, so it's not going to be between third and fourth. There's going to be fourth and fifth. As Junkyard, he's got the nose up there. He sends the move. Can he pull it up? Switch back potentially on. But Junkyard covers it. Nice move, getting it done. What about Cash Mash? He's got to be careful. I thought he was going to take a wider line, but because Bompton's right there, he can't just sort of neglect the McLaren behind. Some good battling for this last spot on the podium. Junkyard might be out of it, but he would want to win it on track. You got multiple drivers that could potentially do it, except for Bompton, who's gone wide. And does he have a spin? Oh, he does save it, but he's back down to P8. And I think those softs have finally just given up on him. That's just lack of grip as Junkyard gets the job done down at 11. He gets it there. Problem is, there's no chance that he's going to give himself a decent margin to get ahead of Broadstar. And Broadstar should be able to just fight him straight back when we come down to turn number 1. Gap only 0.4 of a second. Surely Broadstar able to really fly his way back down. As look at Cash Mash on Ethimon as well. We see 2 by 2. Broadstar goes to the inside. He does get the job done. Does Cash Mash get it done? Yes, he does. Cash Mash back up into P5. So 4 laps left. Cash Mash still potentially on for a podium. He's got to get past Junkyard, as Junkyard's got to try and send the move down here. Lovely stuff. Maybe Broadstar just saving battery when Junkyard maybe burn a little bit. Takes 3rd place through the 4, 5, 6 section. Flat out. Lovely side by side. Round the outside in the end. Junkyard. 0.6 of a second. Problem is, again, DRS between 10 and 11 really helps the car behind just keep within a good margin by the time we get round to the final corner in DRS. Broadstar. Got that DRS open. Gap about 0.7 of a second. Is that enough to potentially send a move down? No, it's not. Problem is, Ashton's actually in trouble here. That gap was 7 seconds. The gap now is only 2.8. Ashton is struggling on those medium compounder tyres. Ashton's last lap was a 17.8. And Junkyard and the group behind was a high 13, low 14. He just dropped 4 seconds on that last lap, so I don't know whether it was a mistake, but that's a lot of time lost. And Junkyard, he's now got a target that he can start chasing down. 1.7 seconds the gap now. So clearly, Ashton, whatever setup he's gone, it is chewing through his tyres. Broadstar actually outside 1 second, so Junkyard, it's a shame that he's got the speeding in pit lane penalty, because this would have been a hell of a drive for a podium. 1.4 seconds now, so Broadstar doesn't have DRS. Cash Mash will. So 2 laps remaining. We're going to see a nice battle for the final step on the podium, with Junkyard being knocked off due to the penalty. The Mercedes getting right up the rear end of the Sauber. So he'll look for an attack on the final lap. You'd imagine Junkyard right on the back. And Broadstar and Cashmash will be right here as well. On board with the McLaren. He's going to go around the outside, is he? He backs out of it. He knew it was silly going through there, but he's really pushing the limit. And down the inside at turn 8. And he does hold it. So, Junkyard up into P2. Ashton has fallen off a cliff. And you can see second through to 5th in screen. So Ashton will get some DRS. Problem is, the pace he's got, he may not be able to stick with the back of the McLaren. He's actually done a nice job. How's he through 13? He was clean through 13 at least. So DRS for the Sauber. 3rd and 4th at the moment. He'll be 2nd and 3rd on the road. Does Ashton send the move down the inside? No, he doesn't. As Cashmash, unfortunately, Broadstar had DRS on his teammates, so Cashmash not able to get the move done. Meanwhile, Mertz has gotten past Ethimon. The P6. 3-second penalty though for Mertz, so he's going to drop a couple of spots in the end. Meanwhile, our race leader, we haven't seen much of him since the restart. 10-second lead. Mainly because we got a hell of a battle for the minor placings of the podium. One final DRS zone. Junkyard looks clear. Problem is he's going to give everyone else behind DRS. So I don't think we will actually see many changes. Ashton just needs to keep it on track and he should hold it now. And I don't think there will be any more final changes. So we're going to head to our race winner. Started in P4, but hell of a job. Zilia wins the Zandvoort pre-season race here at Inters. Junkyard will come across the line. He'll finish P2 on the road, but a 10-second penalty will drop him all the way down as it is a double Sauber podium. Ashton ahead of Broadstar. Cashmash just missing out. Junkyard, where does he drop? I think he'll drop to P7. Really unfortunate. And as we have the rest of the field over the line. So we'll get a quick look at the positions once they load up. But nice racing. Zilia, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right because you drove fantastically. Hard strategy definitely worked. And yeah, hell of a drive. Ashton, if you can hear me, yes, there will be interviews. I'll message you there because I do actually want to have a chat with a couple of you boys. Shout out to both Sauber drivers. Fantastic drive, but fantastic drive to the Aston Martin driver, Zilia, as well. Made the hard meeting work. Got a little bit lucky with the safety car. Great timing, but he pulled away and he kept his tyres in check. So won by about 10 seconds. So shout out. So there are your little details. So your race winner, fastest lap was Dark and Shadows. Ethimon was your driver of the day. Mertz was most overtakes. Cleanest driver was Ethimon. As we have a look at our race results, Celia from Ashton and Broadstar, your top 3. Cashmash in P4, Ethimon in P5, Brompton in P6. Junkyard in P7, that 10-second penalty obviously dropping him all the way back down there. Mertz in P8, Semi in P9, Broken Reptile running out our top 10. I think Toys and Chris, and I think Pugsy as well, they were all AI, unfortunately. Dark and Shadows had a mare, he finished DNF, but picked up fastest lap. Fat Eagle in 15th, he retired early on, and so did Mash. Both Red Bulls having a bit of a stinker. So yeah, really unfortunate for those boys. So as we head over to this one, try and quickly grab the podium for you guys. Well, we do have our top 3 in here. We'll have a bit of a chat. We'll chat with our 3rd place getter, Broadstar. Nice pace from yourself. You were leading for a fair bit of that. You decided to stay out though, so what was your thinking on that? But first, congratulations. Great pace from you, podium, for this evening.
Thank you very much. The plan was to box. It was a very late call. I couldn't get the hard tires selected, so even with my teammate behind me, I didn't want to double stack because that would have cost us a lot. So I stayed out, and surprisingly, I somehow got a podium.
Yeah, how were those tyres feeling? Because my worry was that you were going to be a little bit slow off the start, but the tyres might have come back to you. How were they feeling? Because obviously Ashton got past you quite quickly, and he bolted down the road. But you had a hell of a battle with the likes of Ethimon trying to fight your way through.
Yeah, safety car restart. The tires were very hard to get restarted. So I almost had a big moment coming out of the banking, and somehow they, came a little bit alive. Then they, towards the final couple laps, they started dying off.
Yeah, just you did a nice job. We thought Ashton might have been in a little bit of trouble, but he survived. How are you feeling on this game? Obviously, I raced your last game. You were quick, but it seems like you've maybe potentially taken another step up. How are you feeling with the last month that you've spent on the game?
Yeah, 152 hours on the game. It feels a lot better, and finally out of that cockpit cam to TV pod. Yeah, I'm feeling faster.
Well, it's definitely looking like it. So how you feel? I believe potentially you're full time, if I'm not mistaken, or a reserve.
Yeah, full time, I think. Yeah.
So how are you feeling? Obviously, the draft in a couple of weeks. Obviously, with this performance tonight, confident that you'll get picked up fairly quickly.
Not really. I don't think I'll get it. I'm not sure why, but I'm not confident with getting picked up. But with that podium, it was all Ashton that helped me out because he dropped back just to give me the rest. So,
Oh, well, definitely some team play. Double Sauber podium, but Broadstar, congratulations on your podium, and looking forward to see what you can do potentially in the final few preseason races. But obviously, big congrats on tonight, and obviously good luck for the draft in a couple of weeks.
thank you very much.
All right, well, we'll go to our P2, Ashton. Great drive from you.
Thank you.
Second on the grid, but you had a lot better start on the at the start than Dark and Shadows. He obviously having a bit of a moment just with the second phase of his start. You got into the lead, held that for a couple of laps. Broadstar got past you. It looked like your tyres were dying in that sort of the back end of the first stint, but then obviously you fought your way through, did a bit of an undercut, which actually helped, gained a lot of time with sort of the top boys sort of in traffic, and then you made the right call coming in, getting onto a medium tyre, and then obviously you sort of, once you got past Broadstar, was trying to catch Zilia, but just unfortunately couldn't. And then obviously what Broadstar said, you obviously backed off and tried to sort of help him with DRS.
Yeah, I mean, that sums up my race pretty well. But I'm not going to lie to you, Scotty. End of the first stint, my tyres were on 74% when I came into the pit lane. Tyre wear is definitely my biggest weakness this game, so probably something I need to work on. Like, they were 70% after the last stint as well. But yeah, as you said, better start than Dark and Shadows, got into the lead. But then my tyres just died. The other two had so much more pace than me, and there's no point holding them up when they'll just get past me eventually. It's just wasting time. So I was just trying to manage my tyres, got into the pits. Then when that safety car came out, instant quarter box, because my hards were already on 30% after about 6 laps, and I just wasn't getting to the end of that pace. So instant quarter box, and luckily that was the right call. As you said, trying to catch Stiller, but my tyres were just dead. I had no battery. I tried to recharge for a lap, but I lost a second, and then my tyres just couldn't keep up. So I decided to drop back and help my teammate.
But yeah, I was obviously, I didn't say it on stream, but you were sort of averaging about 10% tyre wear, sort of higher than sort of a lot of the guys around you that were sharing. So obviously, is it potentially just sort of set up, or it is pretty much just you haven't sort of been able to sort of drive smoothly, which is sort of apparent that you need to do on this game?
Yeah, I mean, last game I definitely developed a bit of a flick steering style that's still a bit evident on this game. Could be set up because I did kind of just nick Cam's setup from time trial, which, to be fair, did feel alright in the race, but historically I've also just struggled with tyre wear, so something I need to work on before the actual season starts.
Yeah, but I think clearly it seems like you've definitely improved. You were quick towards the back end of the last game, but it seems like you've also taken another step. Quite quick as well. Obviously, Dark and Shadows obviously about half a second clear of the field, but in quality. But your pace, especially sort of the first half of your stint, very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely do feel a lot faster on this game. Uh, Signed up for Tier 2 and Oz F1. Not sure what tier I'll be here in Inters, but we'll wait and see for that because looking at the tier pots, there's a lot of fast guys that I think I could compete with in every tier. So I'm looking forward to hopefully a competitive season, but I definitely do feel a bit faster than I did at the end of last game.
And obviously, you being the Sauber TP as well, sort of how you feeling coming into sort of the season. Obviously, you've got the draft in a couple of weeks that you're sort of searching for drivers, sort of on a TP aspect. How you feeling?
I'll tell you what, Broadster is definitely on the hit list after that. But as I said, I think it's just going to be seeing what picks I get because I'm probably not going to repeat what I did in Oz F1. 10-7-10 is not very ideal, so hopefully we can get some better picks here at Inters and pick up some fast drivers. Still to decide what my draft strategy is, so I think I've got about a week to decide. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye out on all the other preseason races.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, we still got a few more preseason races left to go. But Ashton, big congratulations on your race tonight, and looking forward to what you do both on track and as a TP in the coming weeks.
Yep, thank you, Scotty.
Thank you. And our race leader went the alt strategy hard to medium. Really, I would say lucked out with the safety car, but had to get the move done for the race lead. And then in the end, you can see on screen, gap was 10.4 seconds ahead of both Saubers. Zilia, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Big congratulations on your race tonight, and pretty impressive win from yourself.
Yeah, cheers, Scotty. Start was terrible. I think I lost 2 positions straight off the line. I haven't raced since F1 23, so I missed F1 24 game cycle. So I'm putting in a ton of time trying to just get used to racing again because it's been over a year since I've raced. But yeah, very much enjoying the game. It felt like a good race. I put in heaps of practice, like Grand Prix practice, put in a bunch of time on the setup. So the hard still felt pretty quick. Towards the end of the stint, I had planned to box on lap 21 and I'm literally pulling into the box as the safety car's called. So the timing was good, but I was hoping to benefit from the overcut because I know that Ashton stopped a little bit earlier off the meds. So I was hoping to come back strong at the end, but yeah, safety car came out. Pace felt good, tyres felt good. Yeah, I had a couple hairy moments. I had to make a couple saves from binning it. I don't run any assists, so sometimes, yeah, just when you're trying to get back into it, it's a bit sketchy. But yeah, it was heaps fun. Really enjoying it.
No, well, you definitely weren't the only one that made saves, and obviously I sort of didn't actually see anything from you in terms of sort of you having moments. So obviously, I think you were a little bit more consistent than a couple of the others, but obviously. You said that obviously you missed 24, so obviously it's sort of a big jump, but maybe you sort of don't have the bad habits of 24 like quite a few of us do. But obviously heading into the draft, are you trying to get a full-time seat or?
Yeah, 100%. I just don't know anyone. I got referred to Inters and Oz F1 by one of my mates I used to race with, but everyone's new to me, so I don't know anyone between the 2 leagues, but the racing's been really good so far. It's good to have multiple preseason races. It's very much helping me get back into the game and practice-wise. So hopefully get picked up. I don't know what division, or I'll just take whatever I get at this point. Just enjoying racing.
No, that's good to hear, and I think a few TPs will have their eyebrows raised at this result. But again, you have made a good strategy call, but you had to execute it. And as I said, you drove flawlessly in that final stint. We know Ashton sort of went back a little bit, but as I said, you were dominant in that final stint and a 10-second lead and race winner, mate. Congratulations, and look forward to
Thanks,
potentially seeing you in a couple of pre-season races, and obviously good luck for yourself for the draft. I reckon a few TPs have now just taken notice, so big congratulations to you.
No, thanks heaps. Thanks for hosting, and yeah, good racing tonight. It's good.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, that will end us for tonight. Yeah, it was a really good race. Obviously, we got a couple of issues at the beginning with the tech issues, so unfortunately Mozza couldn't join in, but thankfully we were able to get in and get comms for a very interesting race. Some good side-by-side battling, especially for that final podium position in the end. Some really good battle. Shout out to Ethimon. Bompter was in there. Cash Mash as well was in there as well. So if these guys are racing together in the full-time season in a seat, should be a fantastic season 9 ahead of us. But that will wrap us up on your Friday night. As you can see on the calendar on screen, tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, we race around Imola, around the 50% race. Another full grid from the check-ins, from the look of it, so it should be another fun one. We'll definitely bring that comms to you tomorrow afternoon. But I've been Scotty. Thank you very much for your company, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon, right back for pre-season Instance Racing Lead action or Imola. So big thank you for joining, and we'll catch you tomorrow.